Welcome back to this news edition of Grizzlies Daily. I'm your host, Malik. I'm going to make this episode pretty quickly because right now I'm on break at my job and I really need to get this video out to y'all because we got a few little updates, few things to talk about, and y'all know we do a daily over here. So one of the things being something that we touched on yesterday regarding Ja Morant, basically Coach Isolo said, hey, the Grizzlies, him and Jaren should be good. I'm going to pull up a full article right here because um, yeah, it's very simple. Basically saying, hey, we're the Grizzlies are good to go, things of that nature. Yeah, so encouraging updates. It says right here, uh, Coach Isolo says both guys are progressing very well and are able to significantly do more than they were a week ago. That is a great sign for the both of them. And when asked could they play the preseason, he said, ask the medical team. He only coaches the players available, which is an honest, good response, which lets us know that Isolo has not thought about playing them in the preseason. That's basically what that means. So, but honestly, great update. It's a great update than what we have heard in the past. We already know Ja's going to be ready for the season opener, and like I've mentioned before, there's a good possibility that Jaren will probably be available right after that. Honestly, um, yeah, I mean it may be good, right there. But if I'm being honest, and this may be a hot take, I know for the fact that I know for the sake of health, they probably shouldn't. But I would not be against the idea of playing both of them if they're ready now. If I'm being honest, they need to get the rust off because come October 22nd, the Grizzlies cannot afford a rusty Ja Morant to get settled in 2-3 games into the season. You know they're gonna get a huge stretch between between Halloween and November 18th. That's a tough stretch of 10 games right there. So you need Ja at his best as soon as you can. So I would say if you can, I wouldn't play him for long, but I play him long enough to where they still get the game speed, get back used to game speed. So that's my ideology right there. I think that's what they should do. As far as Jaren, though, like I said, no real update, but hopefully we see him not too long after the season starts. I really do think we'll get him back in a considerable amount of time. Now, for another thing, and I know y'all was once again seeing ESPN ranking. That's because we actually have a promising update. We have a promising ranking. Now, granted, y'all know with these rankings, we don't necessarily take them to heart as much because at the end of the day, they're rankings made by man. And these are made by numbers, which means we're not going to take them too much into account because this is a simulation. Like it's a simulated ranking. But um, it shows a promising update. It's basically showing that if the Grizzlies stick to a good system and a good game plan, there's a strong possibility that they could make a good push in the postseason. Now, I'm going to point out some flaws. I'm going to point out some serious flaws in this ranking because I wish I could show y'all, but I got to figure all that thing out again. Um, it's a lot that is questionable about about these rankings. And it's funny the more I look at them. So just to give y'all an idea how crazy these are, because they're going by numbers, which actually goes to show that the Grizzlies are one of the best teams when they are at their best. So this right here, for the final standards of the simulation, it has Orlando as the number one seed and Golden State as the number one seed in the West. OKC at number two in the West as well, and then the Knicks at number two. But here's where my problem falls in. It has the Cleveland Cavaliers going as the seventh seed. That's a big drop off compared to last year. I don't see that happening. It has the Detroit Pistons falling completely out of the playoffs. Crazy. But it also has the Grizzlies as the number four seed in the Western Conference. And it's crazy. It's really crazy when you think about it. But if like looking at the numbers, it it puts them in a good spot. I can't lie. Now, granted, this simulation has the Grizzlies losing in the first round to the Clippers, which is kind of wild, but it's definitely worth giving a read. I mean, because it's just an idea that it takes in player stats, player advanced stats, all those things, and it really puts them together. So it's actually a pretty interesting read that I would recommend if you have doubts on what the problem may be with the Grizzlies. Like I said, it's worth the read. It was something I found interesting because you usually don't see much of it, but I found it to be very, very. I found it to see worth a good read. It's on ESPN. I highly suggest y'all check that out. But switching gears, I want to talk about defensive identity. It's going to be key to this season. It's going to be key to how we feel about a lot of things this season. But in order for the defensive identity to be key, and we've already touched on this, one of those things is the turnovers. I see the Grizzlies allowing too many points off turnovers, and it really is a growing problem because turnovers lead to slow play, and slow play lead to missed shots, and missed shots lead to more defensive possessions, basically tiring the guys out. So defensive identity is going to be key, but in order for defensive identity to be key, you really have to take care of the ball, and that's something that the Grizzlies need to touch on. I got to be honest, 18 plus turnovers a game is not normal. It's not. That's just the reality that we need to address right there. It's not normal for a team to have 18 plus turnovers a game. That's not a good sign. I don't know if that means, coming up with easier plays or Gene Lee finding the right guys to have the ball in their hands with or something, or finding a way to make the right pass. You got to figure it out because those turnovers are going to be a problem, and it's going to affect the defense. It really is. And if you think I'm playing, if you think I'm telling lies, just watch tonight's game against the Charlotte Hornets. See how many points they allow off turnovers and see how many turnovers they actually commit. You will see the difference that I'm referring to. Because if they actually keep the turnover amount low, I have a reasonable thought that the Grizzlies will actually win this game by a good amount. It's just the turnovers. That's really the only problem. They cut those turnovers. The Grizzlies win by double digits, making it look like what OKC did last year. Any team can do it because they really can. It's just a matter of what can they do because we already seen the defense. It's in your face, making it hard for you to get the ball, basically shutting down a defender before they even get the ball. We've seen that before. Trying to jump in the lanes. We know that's Ezelo's ideology from playing overseas, coaching overseas. So it's possible. It's just a matter of can you do it. So that's something that we just got to look at right there. Because, if you don't do that, then there's your issue. Now, before we get out of here, one thing I want to touch on because I did see this article and I thought it was very interesting because I did point this out earlier in the year. Jalen Wells is going to be the key. Not the key, but a good key for success going forward this season. And it's referred to the starting lineup. Obviously, y'all know for the bench, I say it was either Santi or Scottie Pippen Jr., but I went with Scottie just because, I got to be honest, I have a lot more faith in Scottie taking another leap than I have with Santi, just based off of what I've seen. But, one of the players is Jalen Wells. Now, I know in preseason, because I feel like this does need to be discussed, Jalen Wells is really shooting that good in preseason, but it's more so, I think, with him just dealing with the fact that he's going to have a lot more shots than he usually takes. Jalen Wells, on average, I think last year took maybe like 7 to 9 shots a game. That's going to increase this year. Because of the starting lineup, that is going to increase this year. And I think we all aren't surprised to hear that. Jalen Wells, he's a guy that can develop into one of the better catch-and-shoot players in the league. But his game has expanded beyond that. We've seen it. Jalen Wells has the possibility to simply be great for the guys. He has the possibility to step in and, do his part, maybe even shoot off the dribble. We've seen a little bit of that in preseason. It's going to take a while to get used to, but at the same time, I think it's possible. And I think a lot of these shots will fall once he gets the ball from the right guys and set up in the right positions. I think once he gets the ball from Ja Morant, in a promising spot instead of having to create his own shot off a pick and roll, I think we'll see more shots try to fall in for Jalen where he's more comfortable. And I think that's what it is right now. He's just not comfortable with what's out on the floor right now. He's the guy that's being basically forced to be a leader in preseason. You know what I'm saying? So he's definitely got some things that he needs to, get used to before we can just see that leap. But we've seen good growth from Jalen Wells once it comes to a ball handler. We've seen him control the fast break a bit, and honestly, they've worked out for the majority. So I think as long as having him in as another ball handler slash spark plug, I think that works out for the Grizzlies. It's just a matter of him staying healthy, which we know is definitely possible Last year just so happened to be a freak accident. That's really what it is. And then you also got to remember that Jalen Wells is one of the more promising defenders in the league. I mean, we're talking about a guy who held Steph Curry to 2 points on 0 field goals. And I have stats pulled up right here. It's off a Twitter post. Top 20 players defended by Jalen Wells last season, and one of them, the first on the list, is Devin Booker. He's held Devin Booker on 112 possessions and 4 points. Now, granted, Devin Booker has had 5 assists, but that means that he's getting the ball out of his hands. Now, for some reason, I don't know why, but Malik Monk gave him various trouble. I don't know why that proves to be the case. Obviously, and then you got players like Luka, who it's Luka. You're gonna have trouble guarding Luka. But some of the notable names on here, like Anthony Edwards, in 97 possessions, held him to 10 points a game. Things like that. He's held Jalen Green in check, Jordan Poole in check, which will come very handy because Jordan Poole is on the Pelicans now, so you're gonna see him 4 times a year. Even Jalen Williams and like Tyrese Halliburton, we've seen notable names get shut down by Jalen Wells, which is why I think this year he's going to get a lot more respect than he deserves and what we've seen in the past. So I'm really big on Jalen Wells being the guy this year to step in with the absence of Desmond Bane now. So I think we'll really see that coming to fruition. I can't wait to see how the team implements him into the system because I really do think Jalen Wells can develop into a great piece in this league. He just needs recognition and he needs the opportunity. So hopefully we see more of that during the regular season. As y'all know, I'm going to be following it the entire way. So I appreciate y'all for tuning into this journey. And also appreciate y'all for tuning into this episode of Grizzlies Daily. That's going to be a wrap. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get tomorrow's episode where we have a recap of the preseason game tonight against the Charlotte Hornets. I give you my thoughts and some more pieces going into the regular season and more updates as well. So make sure y'all tune in and make sure to interact with these videos because I do read every comment and I really appreciate y'all for watching. As for the edition of Grizzlies Daily, my name is Melek and I'll be seeing y'all tomorrow.